Bear, and today I have a very exciting video and it is going to be so awesome. So today I'm going to be telling you guys my TBRs for not just one, but 4 different readathons that I'm going to be participating in throughout the remainder of July. I cannot wait for the readathons to start. So let's go ahead and get into what readathons I'm going to be participating in. There will be links in the description that will take you to the page with the details and information regarding each readathon individually. 2 that I know a good amount about, and the other 2, it's my first time participating, so I can't tell you everything about them. So the first readathon I will be participating in is the biannual Bibliothon, which occurs once in the summer and once in the winter every year. It's very similar to Booktubeathon in the fact that it is a week-long readathon where there are both video and reading challenges and Twitter sprints as well. As far as I understand, there are not Instagram challenges. For the biannual Bibliothon, there is a group book that is selected every year, and there is a live show discussing that book at the end of the readathon. The video challenges are announced further in advance, so you pre-film your videos. I'm not going to be doing the video challenges, but I will be doing daily vlogs. The Bibliothon will be occurring from the 14th to the 20th of July. The next readathon is the 24 and 48, which is a really cool concept. The readathon runs for a span of 48 hours, and you try to read for 24 of them. And it's really great if you're in school or working, but you want to do a 24-hour readathon. This is a great alternative for you. For the 24 and 48, I will be doing a combined vlog of both days, so it will be one vlog for the 2 days. The 24 and 48 occurs from the 21st to the 22nd of July, the day after the biannual Bibliothon ends. The next readathon is the reverse Dewey's 24-hour readathon. The reason it's called the reverse Dewey's 24-hour readathon is because it starts at the opposite hour. So for me, instead of starting at 7 a.m., it starts at 7 p.m. This is great for people who live in time zones where the readathon was starting at like 4 a.m. for them. Starting a readathon at 4 p.m. is probably a ton more preferable. For the reverse Dewey's 24-hour readathon, I will be doing another daily vlog. The reverse Dewey's 24-hour readathon will occur on the 27th of July. The last readathon that I will be participating in July is the Booktubeathon. Booktubeathon is a week-long readathon that occurs once a year in the summer. 7 reading challenges, 7 video challenges, 7 Instagram challenges, and also there are Twitter sprints as well. I believe there are Twitter sprints for all of the readathons. Each challenge is released on a day. You have from the time the challenge is released until the time the next day's challenge is released to film, edit, to brainstorm, film, edit, upload, and submit your response to the video challenge. I will be doing the Booktubeathon video challenges as well as daily vlog. I will also be doing the Instagram challenges as well. The Booktubeathon this year is running from July the 30th to August 5th. So now let's get into what I'm reading for each of these readathons. For the biannual Bibliothon, I have a TBR of 7 books. Each goes with a challenge. The first challenge is to read the group book, which is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. I'm super excited for this. I am so excited because I actually was already wanting to read this book and it gave me the excuse to buy it, so I'm really excited. Next challenge is to read a book from somebody else's TBR. The challenge was given with the flexibility of it not having to be somebody's Bibliothon TBR or even a TBR from this year. So I started out my search with Bibliothon TBRs for this year. When I did this, there wasn't a whole ton of videos uploaded with it yet, so I decided to go ahead and just start with the first video that popped up when I searched it and go from there. I watched that video, thought I hadn't found anything, and kept going, and I was like struggling, and I was like, I don't know what to do, and then it hit me that I already had the audiobook for this book that the first video that I watched mentioned. So the video that I watched will be linked in the description box, as well as the channel for Icy Reads and her TBR, because I have History's All You Left Me on audiobook to read for this readathon. This is by Adam Silvera, by the way. The next challenge is to do a try a chapter of 3 different books, pick one, and that is the book for your TBR for this challenge. I'm going to insert the clips that I took on my phone of me going to the bookstore because I had to buy Wicked Deep, and I wasn't feeling anything that was on my shelves. I was like, I need something with a different format. So I need a graphic novel or a manga, clearly. So I decided to go into the bookstore and pick out 3 manga that I knew I was already interested in and do the try a chapter. Now, I will tell you, I didn't necessarily read the full chapter. I didn't want to do that. I find that with manga and graphic novels, the chapters are a bit longer, and so I didn't want to read too far into the story and spoil myself. I cut myself off when I felt that I had a good enough idea of the feel of the writing and the art style and the plot line and the story and the genre that it fit into to decide if that was what I wanted to read for the readathon or not. I had Death Note, Erased, and Orange, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the names of the authors. And although I'm super interested in reading all of them still, I felt that this one fit the vibe and the mood that I have for my reading right now, and that is Orange. It is obviously super huge, but this is a bind up, so it has volumes 1 and 2 at least. It may have the 3rd volume, but I believe it just has 1 and 2. So I'm just going to be, for the challenge, considering volume 1. And if I have extra time towards the end of the readathon and I want to pick it up or I want to break up my reading, then I might pick this back up and read some more of it. But as far as like to check off the challenge, I don't have to read this whole thing. I do have to read the whole first volume, but when it comes to the 2nd volume, I'm flexible when it comes to that. The next challenge is to read a book that has been on your TBR for over a year. I struggled with this. It suddenly hit me exactly what I should read. Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Treasure Island is a classic, but it is a short classic, and so I think I can do it. I wanted to read this for the summer anyways, so when I realized, hey, I could read this for this challenge, I got excited. The next challenge is to read an anticipated 5-star read. I struggled with this one because most of the books that I have on my shelves, I'm not like, oh my gosh, that's totally gonna be a 5-star. And then the other thing that is a problem is the fact that the one other book that I could have said, yes, I'm sure that's gonna be a 5-star. The other one is definitely a fall read for me, so.
You have a text message, my lady.
Up by default, Obsidio by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I don't want this trilogy to be over, and that's why I bought it the day it came out and still have yet to even crack it open. The next challenge is to read a book that is own voice, that the characters reflect the author in characteristics or situations that they have. For example, in Turtles All the Way Down, the main character has OCD and anxiety. John Green, the author, also has OCD and anxiety. So that is owned voice. Yes! I was planning on reading this over the summer. It's on my shelf already, so I don't have to buy it. I'm reading When Dimple Met Rishi by Sadaya Menon. I could be pronouncing her first name wrong. If I am, I'm very sorry. I did look it up, but I don't remember because that was several days ago. The last challenge is to read the last book you bought. Okay, well, I can't buy another book. I can't do that. I needed not to spend that much money. I'm trying not to buy things. So I was like, well, I can't do that. And I wasn't feeling the books that I have on my shelf that are my most recent buys, because that would be Outlander. Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, which is freaking huge, and I want to read this in fall, and I want to take my time with it, and I'm sure that this would be a hard thing to try to read for a freaking readathon. Like, are you kidding? That text is like super tiny. You can't even see it, but it's tiny, trust me on it. It's just, This is not a readathon type of book. I'm sure of that. And so then I checked, I was like, ooh, I could use an ebook. The last ebook I bought, Hypnotist Love Story by Leanne Moriarty, which I am super excited to read, but I didn't really feel like reading that for this readathon, especially because it's like 400 pages. And I was like, I don't know. So I ended up thinking and saying, okay, I could look through and maybe there will be a free Nook book that I could get, that I could read. And it may not be the preferable thing, but it'll be something. Searched through and I organized it. I did the sort by and I did best by bestsellers. This is what I came out with. It is called Brownies and Betrayal by Heather Justessen. It's a murder mystery novel, and it has dessert in it. It is a series, actually. It is a Sweet Bites Mystery Book 1. The best part about having an ebook in the mix is that I can have it with me on my phone no matter what. So if I run out of book with what I'm reading, I can either jump into my audiobook, or if that's not appropriate, I can read off of my phone, read the ebook through the Nook app. Rearrange my shelves just a smidge, but I've created this little area here that is going to be my TBR shelf so that I can snag from here. I make like a specific section for like readathons and stuff, or like for what I want to read next. I like to have like a little area. So after that we have the 24 and 48 and the Dewey 24-hour readathon, which I don't have very set goals or anything like that, and my TBR is going to be pretty relaxed. I'm just going to pick up when I'm feeling, but I do have some ideas of things that I might be reading. Of course, if I don't finish my Bibliothon TBR, then that will be the first thing that I dive into. If I don't read volume 2 of Orange, then I may pick that up during the readathons. But I also have 3 other options here as well of things that I may end up picking up. One of them is Robin Hood by Henry Gilbert. I know, another classic, but I wanted to read this kind of in the summer or fallish type of time, so I may end up picking it up if I'm in the mood, if it grabs my... Another book that I have in mind to read is A Replica by Lauren Oliver. This is a really cool book because when you read it this way with the blue cover, it is Lyra's perspective, but then you flip it over and read it the other way and it is Gemma's perspective. So cool. And I may end up doing like one perspective on during the 24 and 48 and then the other perspective during the Dewey's 24-hour readathon. That might be pretty cool. Otherwise, I may be picking up the next Cassandra Clare book in the read-along that I'm doing. I am behind. After that, we have the Booktubeathon. So let's get into my TBR for that. So the first challenge is to let a coin toss decide your first book. So to me, there are 2 ways you can do this. You can either pick 2 books for this, and then when you go to make your TBR, you flip the coin, and then whichever one it is on your TBR, and then you make the rest of your TBR. For me though, I find that I didn't really want to do that, so here's what I did instead. I picked my TBR, and instead of, normally for the last challenge of the readathon is to read 7 books. So you just add another book of whatever you want. It's kind of like a freebie. Instead of that, I did 2 freebies. Pick 2 books from my TBR list afterwards, flip the coin, and whichever one it is will be the one that I start the readathon out with. I hope that makes sense. So I'll basically tell you the rest of my TBR, and then I will do the coin toss on the first day. So you'll see it in the vlog, and that way you'll see exactly what I start out with in that way. So you'll see it then. You won't see it now, you will see it then. The next challenge is to read about something that you want to do. So for this, I just kind of picked what I had to work with on my shelf already. This challenge, I will be picking up The Painter's Daughter by Julie Clausen. Julie Clausen is my favorite Christian romance author. I'm not a huge romancy reader, but if I am gonna read romance, it's gonna be kind of along these lines. She writes really great plot twists, and there's other relationships going on and other plot elements going on other than just the romance, which I really like about her writing. The next challenge is to read and watch a book to movie adaptation. As soon as I read this, I knew exactly what book I wanted to do. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I'm so excited. So the next challenge is to read a book with green on the cover. And I was like, ugh, am I gonna have to read this one book that I don't want to read until fall? And then I looked over and I was like, no, I'm not, because I'm gonna read Insurgent by Veronica Roth. Yeah! During the week-long Bre Readathon, I read Divergent as part of one of the challenges, and it inspired me to go ahead and continue on with the series, and I was like, you know, it's not as bad as I remember. Yes, I think that there are a lot of problematic elements in it, but it's not as bad as I remember. And I never read Allegiant, so I want to do a first-time reading video for Allegiant as well. After I finish Twilight, of course. The next challenge is to read a book while wearing the same hat the entire time, and that book will be... After After Alice by Gregory Maguire. The reason I'm reading this one for this challenge is because the color scheme kind of matches the hat I'm going to wear a little bit. Because pretty much the only hat that I still have, I used to have a lot of hats, and for some reason I had this moment where I was like, I never wear hats anymore, so I'm going to get rid of all my hats. And I'm mad about it. So the only hat that I even have anymore is the one that my boyfriend gave to me recently. That was his because he had to take it off for a minute and he put it on my head and it fit. So I kept it. And so it's a camo hat though. And so, I mean, the color scheme of this book, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell in this lighting, I think, for you guys. But if I take this off, and you can kind of see, it kind of fits the color scheme, okay? Okay, that is my reasoning. And the next challenge is to read a book with a beautiful spine. For this, I was struggling for a while about what to pick, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, well, maybe I could use Alice. Maybe I could use After Alice because of the cover being so pretty. But the spine is really kind of boring, to be honest. The spine isn't the pretty part. It's the dust jacket with the cover, and I don't know, it's just like the spine is not the pretty part. So I was like, you know, I kind of feel like that would be cheating. But up until then, I had the book I'm about to show you on my TBR for the Wear a Hat challenge because it's a wonky, mystical, whimsical book. And I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? This book has a beautiful spine. My copy of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass has a very beautiful spine. I don't love all of these Barnes & Noble copies, but this particular one, it works. So the last challenge is to read 7 books. And for this, I basically just picked out 2 other books that I think will fit well and, you know, spice up the reading. I picked Wonder because I've seen most of the movie, and I could have picked this one for the book-to-movie adaptation, but I've seen most of the movie already. Finally, I had all of these physical books on my TBR, and so I was like, well, clearly we have an issue here. Clearly we do. We have to break up all of the physical reading. I won't be able to do this. And so I had to pick something that wasn't a physical book. And so I scrolled through my Audible books to see what I had, and I was like, oh, I haven't read anything from Throne of Glass in too long. I'm going to be picking up the next book in the Throne of Glass for me, which is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. So I had to go get Sam because he's barking at the UPS guy. Man, look at the man. Look at how mad. We'll see how this goes. I'm like as eager as Sam is right now, but instead of attacking the UPS guy, I want to attack the books. He wants to attack the UPS guy, don't you? I want to attack the books. I have this much energy. It's like I'm sitting here just like, arr, arr, arr. I'm so mad about it, but I am. I'll keep going. Thank you. I will see you guys very soon with some reading vlogs for all of these glorious readathons. I'm so excited. Ah! I will see you guys very soon. Peace out, your scouts. About your worries and your stress. I need a bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. Yeah, bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your stress. I need a bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life.